African leader is corrupt. They are corrupt. The pyramid, which part is larger, the bottom or the top?
The bottom.
Okay, the bottom. So you have 130 million Nigerians. You pick just few and put them at the top.
Oh, we didn't pick them.
Hold on. However they got to the top. The reason you're talking about them is because of where they are only mirroring what is going on here. Because you pick them from among you. No way if I toss a coin from 1960, it will keep falling on the head. Every single country in Africa says they pick a wrong leader every 4 years. It's impossible, Eileen.
But at the same time, there's a lot of corruption.
There is no corruption. I explained it to the first group. No African leader is corrupt. They are corrupted because what you are giving them to do is foreign. Let me ask you, do you know a single political system in the continent of Africa that was originated from the people? So how did you get your political systems? What do you mean?
It's stemmed through hierarchy.
No, the political systems you're using today. Colonization. Why did you keep it when you know it's foreign?
Because that's all our ancestors knew.
No, they didn't know that. They were ruling themselves, the former administrations, the Oduduwa, the Benin Empire. They all have what they understood and what they can. You thought you want to be like the people who colonized you, so you accepted what they left behind. Do you know, until recently, you have to go to Britain to look at your constitution. So if there is no original political system, how do you expect Tinubu to understand it?
So who should we put, a British person?
So you have to. Like many countries did it, when something is repeating itself, don't repeat the method. Every change happened in Singapore, Taiwan, Korea, Japan, all within.
You know what? Okay, shout out to these people, right? By the way, before I start my comment on this video, right? Subscribe to the channel, guys, if you haven't done so, and please engage, comments, all that, much appreciated. So this is like the ZANU project. I like listening to some of their conversations, but this clip came up in my feed, and I do. So basically, he talks about the fact that African leaders are not corrupt, but they're corrupted. And then the premise from where he takes that thought process from is the fact that the institutions by which this presidents rule within, it's not made or it's not created by the people. So when I was listening to this, I was like, okay, it takes me back. If you listen to my content, now I do allude a lot of times that democracy is foreign to African nations. That is why democracy does not work within Africa. And I remember when I was in when I studied when I was in secondary school back in Nigeria, right? When we studied democracy, they said it's government by the people for the people. But as you get older, you understand that democracy is not by African people, and it's not. It was not created by the people, so it can't be for the people. So in that aspect, I agree with what he's saying. But this is my where I disagree with him. He talks about the fact that African leaders are not corrupt, they are corrupted, which means that when they are elected, right? And this is what I'm getting from what he's saying. When they're elected, when they become president, the corruption now comes from within the people. And because they are thriving within an institution that is foreign to Africans, it corrupts them. This can be true and not true at the same time. So things can be true and not true. So one, yes, I think even democracy practiced in the West, which is where it's taken from, there is corruption everywhere. Corruption happens, they just call it different names, right? But I also think corruption is an aspect of oneself. So if you're in politics, if you're leading something, if you're a CEO or whatever, you have the choice not to partake in the corruption. You cannot say that because corruption is part of the institution, it's in and of itself, or it's not, it can be exclusive. I can be running a government and decide that, within myself, I don't want to be corrupt. So therefore, I separate myself from the corrupt practice. Is it hard to do? Yes, it is. So that is where I disagree. But I can understand when he says that the system is corrupted, thereby it's hard for African leaders to thrive within a system that is already corrupted, which makes them corrupt as well. But I also think that most people are corrupt even before they get into those positions. So that cannot be an argument to justify how corrupt most African countries are. And they also mentioned the fact that, I mean, he talks about that you can't flip a coin since 1960 and it still lands on head. I don't know, because when the corruption becomes the order of the day, right? Now, yes, maybe in the birth of these political institutions in Africa, the institutions were corrupt. But as time went on, the corruption has filtered into and has become part of those institutions in the African way. So the corruption has been mixed within the institution. Now it's now part and parcel of everything. So I don't agree totally with his stance, but I do hear what he's saying. But guys, let me know what you think. Do you think that African leaders are not corrupt, but they are corrupted like he stands? I see where he's coming from, but I don't agree. I think that most of the leaders choose to be corrupt, right? They choose to be. You can choose for your regime to be corrupt, and you can choose for it not to be corrupt. Now, there might be outside forces that forces the corruption. That is where I agree, because most African leaders are not leading by themselves. You might think they are, but they are outside influences. So the corruption can come from outside, and it can become so much that they can't handle it. They have to just, succumb to the corruption, which is where I agree a bit. But at the same time, I still think that there is some blame on African leaders as well. You can't just void them of all the blame and say that it's just the institution or the government or the governmental whatever system they're using, whether it's, parliamentary or democracy or whatever it is, that's what is corrupt. And I do understand also that these political systems are not for African countries, most of them. They are foreign. I do agree with him on that Africans need to begin to devise their own form of government that works within the context of the continent, itself, and not something that is borrowed or something that they're trying to adapt and they're married into society that is foreign. Because whenever you invite a virus or a parasite into a body that is foreign, there's going to be fight. And that happens a lot within the African system of government. So guys, let me know what you think. Do you think that African leaders are corrupted and not corrupt? Let me know. And always, man, guys, subscribe to the channel. Comment, likes, all appreciated. This is Food Chairs, guys. Peace.